You're listening to The Veteran Next Door, and I'm your host, Randy Baxter. And our guest today is Captain Ron Esslinger. He's got a long military career, and he uses his time now to help treat people with post-traumatic stress disorders, many of them from the military, using hypnosis. And Captain Esslinger, I didn't know they used hypnosis for those kind of treatments. Can you tell me a little bit about that, or its purpose, or its usefulness, or its techniques?
Happy to. Well, I started using hypnosis back in, 1978. And it was used a lot then for childbirth, a lot for pain management, but most people thought about it for weight and stop smoking. Of course, in this area where it's a little bit called the Bible Belt, and of course Knoxville about the buckle of the Bible Belt, a lot of people look at it as being witchcraft and other things. So what happened was, as you learn more about how it utilized, a lot of people actually use hypnosis to create the problems that they got. An example would be worry. Worry is a type of negative hypnosis. Yeah, but that word hypnosis sounds kind of weird because we see that as people on stage making people bark like dogs or cluck like chickens. And I've had a few people ask me if I was going to do that when they come to the office. But the main thing about it is we all go into hypnosis throughout the day many times. If you're driving and you get to work or you get somewhere and you don't remember passing a building, going across a bridge, or even think, did I even stop at that stop sign? That's an alpha brainwave cycle, and that's a hypnotic cycle. As a matter of fact, the music in the background you're listening to now is a 60 beat a minute, so it matches kind of the heartbeat to kind of calm people down at an alpha state to help you from getting overstressed. So the other thing about hypnosis is it's also nowadays called guided imagery or creative visualization. As a matter of fact, Albert Einstein said that everybody should do creative visualization every day and also play. Play takes away a lot of the stress. And so one of the things that we do when we deal with our stress patients and our post-traumatic stress, military and civilian, is start helping them to look at themselves in a different way, to enjoy life more. But the main thing is what hypnosis will let you do is to start living in the present, letting go of things of the past which have been imprinted upon our brain. A lot of people think that, well, if you use hypnosis, they're going to have control of you. Actually, hypnosis gives you more control. That's why hypnosis works so well with pain management and stress management, especially post-traumatic stress disorder, because now a person is no longer helpless to work with those things, which other medical systems have said, this is all we can do for you. Is it gives them some control, because when you can control your own thoughts, then you can control what happens within the brain. It's like in pain. There is no pain till it gets to the brain. Well, there is no stress until we change how we think. Now, our thinking can also imprint stuff upon the brain or the subconscious mind, which will allow us then to have flashbacks to them because we haven't allowed ourselves to address them and to let them go. You mentioned some very interesting concepts when you were talking about post-traumatic stress earlier, which was you talked about people having guilt, and you talked about being able to do forgiveness. And letting go of guilt and being able to forgive is one of the major inroads of what we do. And forgiveness, you have to realize, doesn't mean condoning what you have done for yourself or what others have done to you. It means breaking that chain that takes the pain out of the anger and the anger out of the pain. And what I've seen with most of my post-traumatic stress disorders is just a different kind of pain. It is a pain that allows people to keep living things that were traumatic in the past, and unfortunately, the brain does not know the difference between a thought and a happening. So when you think something, that thought in actuality is not real. It's only a perception, but that perception becomes reality. So being able to forgive ourselves and let go of the guilt and to change those thoughts, because every thought we have creates a new neuron or a new part of the brain, and as you create new around that same thought, then it creates this huge network which becomes the dominant thought. And whatever the mind possesses, the body expresses. So we can think about something happy that's happened and we can smile. We can think about something that was sad or that made us angry, and we can either cry or get angry again. Well, it's the same thing with stress and post-traumatic stress. Stress is about an 88% component of almost everything that I see people for. So when you can learn to handle your stress, you're going to learn to handle a lot of your chronic pains. You're going to learn to handle also the deeper stresses, the imprinted stresses within your brain of the trauma stresses, because they all have the same underlying process.
So they can get this information at your website, healthyvisionshypnosis.com.
That is correct.
Is that all one word, no spaces?
All one word.
Okay, so listeners, if you're out there and there's a free, they can get this for free?
They can get it for free.
Okay, so they go to healthyvisionshypnosis.com. One last thought for me is whatever the mind possesses, the body expresses. So can you put that in context for a veteran who's having problems with issues or?
Yeah, happy to. What happens is whatever our thoughts are, we create. As I talked about earlier, pain, anger, whatever. If we think about it, we recreate it. So what I'd like for you to do then is think, if we change our thought, change the mind, then that rewires the brain, which changes the behavior. Change the thought, changes the brain, changes the behavior. So nobody can control your thought but you. Only you control your thought.
So if I'm a soldier who was involved in someone's death or harming someone and that keeps coming back to me, again, say it to me in one sentence, what is it you're going to tell me to do?
I'm going to say, forgive yourself, and then change your thinking about it so that you rewire your brain so that that behavior, that feeling goes away, and stop the thought.
We want to thank Captain Esslinger for coming and talking to us today. Do you have a phone number you want them to call?
Yeah, if they want to call our office, it's 865-269-4616.
And again, folks, you can go to healthyvisionshypnosis.com. And veterans out there listening, it's just a way to deal with some of the things that bother you and some of the things that keep recurring. And maybe this advice is good for you. But I guess all I would say to you, and what I've learned today, is change your mind, change your brain, and change your behavior.